What does it mean? What does it mean? What does it mean? I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. We need an expert. We need an expert. We need an expert hour.
Welcome to Expert Hour. Very excited about our guest expert this week. He is an expert on Southern living. Please welcome Tarp.
Hey, it's Tarp. Very nice to meet all of you.
Nice to meet
Hi.
you.
Oh.
I am a state senator from the great state of Tennessee.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
What's your last name?
Oh, I don't have a last name.
That's good for branding.
Yeah.
Mononym. That's actually what I wanted to talk about. People always say, you know, the South has an unfair reputation as being a bunch of backwards yokels, but I know big words like mononym and such.
That was impressive.
Yeah.
you.
It does seem like it's kind of an unfair reputation. There are a lot of, brilliant people who have come out of the South.
That's right. It's more progressive than you might think too. We're not all backwards, you know.
Some of you are forwards.
Yes, that's right. Forward thinkers.
Well, let's get into it. So you're from Tennessee,
That's right.
born and raised?
Yeah, I was conceived and born on a tarp.
Is that how you got your name?
That is my name.
Okay.
I was. That's right. In a particularly slippery patch of field. It was rainy, so they laid down a tarp. It collected water. My parents said, "Well, this is as good a place as any."
Wait, so you were conceived and born there?
That's
so
right.
Did they just hang out on a tarp for 9 months?
That would be insane.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. So they thought, okay, this is where they went back.
Let's
to
go
the tarp.
back to the point of origin.
Oh, okay. That's sweet.
It's poetic.
That's right.
Well, that's fantastic. So let's talk about Southern living. What do you think are the biggest, misconceptions about Southern living, and what are some things you want people to know about what it's really like?
Well, gosh, just about everything's a misconception when you're talking Southern living. People think we only eat unhealthy, fattening foods, and that's not true. We eat all sorts of things.
Can you name some healthy foods that you eat?
Sure. Butter surprise, fat ball. Well, I got one thing I make that is, spaghetti, the Italian dish?
Sure.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I take spaghetti and I wrap it around a big pile of candied sugar. That is when you take sugar and you caramelize it until it becomes candied sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And then I bake that with, dates, the fruit dates. This is where the healthy part comes
Oh,
in.
yeah.
Yeah, there's some dates. And then, just a...
So it's like a sweet
I
pasta?
wasn't done with the
Okay,
recipe. There's still 3 or 4 more ingredients. Then you take a nice handful of lard, just a little scoop of lard. That's right there. Then we get, you got to have a protein, right? So you do a mashup, I call it. You take a little bit of beef and a little bit of pork and a little bit of chicken and you stick it in a ball. That's that part of the recipe. And then you just sprinkle it on top with coffee grounds and then bake it for 35 minutes.
Just 35 minutes?
That's right.
Wow.
Yep.
That sounds delicious.
Sounds horrible. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like a sweet meat pasta?
With coffee.
That's right. It's a pick-me-up.
And is that a traditional Southern dish, or is that something
It's a
you
traditional tarp dish, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
Tarp dish.
So, can I ask you about, because
Sure.
when I think of Southern living,
Yeah.
the first thing I think of is Magic Mike XXL.
Uh-huh.
And I think of, and when I think of Southern living, I think of like a White House
Mm-hmm.
and a bunch of ladies just having a glass of wine,
See?
talking about men.
You see,
And I
now
love
that is a negative
Is it?
assumption that you're making about the South.
'Cause
Some of us don't even have houses.
Okay.
I happen to live in a trailer park.
Okay.
Not my trailer. I hide in a friend's trailer.
I'm sorry, you're hiding in a French trailer?
Yeah,
And
he's
you're
not
also
currently aware that I'm living there.
but you're also a senator.
A state senator.
State senator, okay.
Not a senator.
Okay.
There's a difference.
So yeah, can you explain the difference there? Because I actually don't know.
Sure. So there's senators, just 2 of them for each state. Then there's the House of Representatives. You get however many for how big your state is. Then there's this other thing called state senators that people don't really educate themselves for when they vote. So you can elect a Tarp every now and then to represent you.
What was your platform when you ran?
I wanted to anoint a raccoon king.
Now, you used past tense. Does that mean you no longer want to anoint a raccoon king?
I got a very mean email from Washington, D.C., and they said put an ixnay on the raccoon king ray. I'm not an expert in pig laying, I must admit.
Wait, so why were they against the idea of your platform?
Well, it called for the assassination of a sitting president.
Okay, yeah. So can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
It sounds like it might have been more about the presidential assassination.
No, I
less
don't
about
think
the
they're
raccoon.
forward thinkers. They're less progressive than you might think.
Does this have anything to do? Does your assassination attempt on a president
Yeah.
have anything to do with the fact that you're hiding in a trailer?
Well, in a roundabout way, I suppose. I mean, Barack Obama didn't say go live in that trailer, but he did make it so hard for me to keep a job. Obama.
Aren't you?
He said that, what?
Well, don't you currently have a job as a state senator?
Yeah. But not a cushy job like I had at the Lady Foot Locker. But Obama made it that I can't steal shoes.
Wait,
I don't think that was his fault.
That's it. It's all him.
What did he do? It
He
seems like
said he probably called my manager and said, you got to fire Tarp because he keeps stealing shoes.
the president of the United States
That's right.
called a lady footlocker.
I mean, I can't verify that, but I've run it through in my
We
head.
probably could verify it because all sort of presidential phone calls are kept on a record.
Kept in those emails, Hillary.
She would have had nothing to do with it.
Emails, Hillary.
It sounds like
God,
you're,
people attack the South left and right.
I mean, Hillary Clinton is married to a Southerner.
Well, we disavowed him long ago, ever since he played the saxophone.
I was going to
yeah.
the saxophone
That's
incident.
what
Yeah. Is that because do Southerners? Is it because they hate jazz?
I see the trap you're trying to catch me in.
It's
my
a bit of a
friend.
gotcha question. I'm so sorry.
It certainly is.
What, does he look like a crawdaddy to you?
Oh,
So
boy.
easily caught in a trap?
I call them cray daddies, but I get what you're saying.
So you're born and raised in Tennessee. What other parts of the South are you familiar with? Because you're an expert on Southern living, so I imagine you have a bit of
Yeah, I
a...
know all sorts of the South. I guess the southernmost tip of Kentucky and the northernmost tip of Georgia. Those are the states that border Tennessee. I'm somewhat confident.
So you know about them. What's the most important thing to know about Kentucky that people don't know?
Well, it's north of the Mason-Dixon line and therefore not part of the South.
Really?
That's right.
What about Georgia?
Well, I don't want another gotcha question. There's a lot of jazz lovers in Georgia. That's what I'll say about that.
Okay, let's
Let's
change-
go. They call it Hotlanta. A lot of great hip hop.
That's right. But you know what? They're being judged too, just as badly as I am. Yeah.
I might say worse.
No.
Yeah.
They're just as bad because when I went there, I got arrested.
What
What
did you get arrested
for?
for?
I got arrested for peeing on an officer.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, what? I'm not gonna even
They're
try
not
to.
progressive at all.
I'm not going to say if the arrest was justified or not. I don't know. I'm not going to comment on that.
We
but I
weren't
would
there.
like to know
Yes.
what were the circumstances that led up to you urinating on an
I
officer.
saw a police officer and I thought, you know what? I'm awful curious what would happen if I were to defile his apparel. And so I took out my little ding-a-ling. That's another unfair stereotype from Magic Mike XXL. We don't all have giant ding-a-lings.
Okay.
I I
glad
took out
you're here to educate us about
my little baby ding-a-ling, and I went a-whizzing on his pants.
Okay, first of all, a couple things. You
Yeah.
seem very proud of your small.
Yeah.
Well,
What's going on down there?
women call it a unique experience.
Okay, that's very polite.
that is very polite.
And I am starting to think that the arrest is justified because your motivation was there was nothing more than just like I want to.
Who are you? Timothy Oliphant?
From Justified?
No, I'm not. I'm not Timothy
Well,
Oliphant.
then it's not justified.
I got it.
Sorry, I stepped on that a little bit.
No, but I needed the help with it.
Yeah.
Man, people hate the South.
The South.
Let's get back to the topic at hand, which is Southern living.
Yeah.
We're California babies over here. If we wanted to start, trying to incorporate Southern living into our current lifestyles here, where do we start?
That's a great question.
That is a great
Are there
question.
places in LA to get good Southern food? Are there,
Yeah, well, there sure is. Do you know a Baby Blues barbecue?
No.
Oh, that place is great.
That place is great.
I
There's
love
a
it.
dumpster right behind there
Oh.
where you can get any sort of barbecue you're interested for a very affordable rate.
What's the rate?
Wait, is there
You
a
have to
rate?
fight off the former king,
Raccoon.
the raccoon.
They have a raccoon problem around their dumpster.
That's right.
He's no longer the king?
So he was king.
yeah.
Well, I declared him. I drew up some paperwork. Was declared not legally binding. At that point, he ceased to be the king.
Why did you want to crown a raccoon king?
Well, I thought, what are the most noble of creatures in all of God's kingdom? How about the little monsters that eat garbage?
Yeah, that's...
Asked and answered.
Can't argue with that.
How did you pick one?
How did I pick one raccoon to be king?
Yeah.
Well, I had a pageant. Each raccoon had their own talent. One was biting my leg. Another was he was the Kobayashi of garbage eating. And I was so very impressed by the amount of trash he ate, I made him king.
Wow.
I think I read about this.
Yeah?
So you refer to it as a pageant because I read about a Holiday Inn Express that had a guy checked into a Holiday Inn Express.
Yeah.
Is this the same story? It might not be the same story. And
I think I read about this too.
Yeah, he came in with like 12 raccoons.
Yeah.
And then refused to leave.
Well, it's
Snuck
almost...
them in.
It sounds like that could be my story. It is one slight difference. I didn't check in so much as I hid in the Holiday Inn
But the
Express.
pageant was held at a Holiday Inn
That's
Express.
right.
Okay.
Oh.
There was some sort of... we were talking about them body pillows earlier. There was some sort of anime convention that I guess I brought a bunch of raccoons to. They
What do you
didn't
mean?
enjoy.
Yeah, you did. You did bring. You're not.
I guess I read it in the news. I suppose
But you
it
also
happened.
did it and remembered it.
Who can remember them things? Now, in the South, things just move a little bit slower. And so it's easy to let things pass you by.
Do you have advice for people to just kind of take things more on a Southern, time frame?
Absolutely. I learned this from my father, stop sign. He said that,
Just real quick.
yeah,
Was he conceived on a stop sign?
my grandparents had vertical sex at a stop sign.
So they were just standing. There was a stop
They
sign.
had just been pulled over by the police for methamphetamine use. They got away with it, and in their excitement, they had sex on a stop sign after he left. Then, 9 months later, they returned and had a very difficult delivery standing opposite a stop sign.
All right, back on track. So your dad.
The advice my dad gave me. He told me, he whispered in my ear, "Ah!" You see, my father thinks he's on fire all the time.
That is beautiful
And so
advice.
I've kept that with me.
That helps
I
you.
want to
relax.
cross stitch
Yep.
that on a pillow.
What are you doing for fun out in L.A.? Tarp?
What brings me to Los Angeles?
Yeah.
So that is a funny question. It turns out that my friend, whom I was crashing with, decided to take a road trip. I was unawares.
Okay.
And
Oh,
so
the
it's like I
trailer
was
you were in.
woken up in some sort of hellscape.
Okay.
Like,
Of
this
California?
is a very lovely house, and I do not care for it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
To anyone who's thinking of visiting the South, I know I visited recently, and I was asking a lot of people this question. Oh, what are some places you can't miss? Like, what do you got to see when you visit the South?
Ooh, the best places in all of the South. Well, lucky for you, they can all be found in the great state of Tennessee. Well, there's the Mudfuck Hut.
Okay.
The Mudfuck Hut. Where?
No sex happens there. That is not why it's called that.
Okay.
It's called that because people curse God whenever they're sitting there. They say, "Fuck you, God."
So it's sort of the opposite of like a church.
That's right. It's the Mudfuck Hut. It's where people come. Now, I'm not saying they ain't religious,
Right.
but
They're
it's
mad.
where people come and, they let out their doubts and their disagreements with the Lord.
I think that's very healthy, actually. It's just sort of letting go of resentment and
Yep.
turning it over.
Yep.
That's actually a spiritual practice in itself.
Thank you. Yeah, the congregation is me and stop sign.
So you and your father just go into a hut.
That's
in the
right.
mud and curse God.
Screaming God
But you're
for our lot in life.
But your father's already screaming anyway because he thinks he's on fire. That's
right.
Okay.
How
Yep.
much does it cost?
How much does it cost? Well, God, I hadn't actually considered this on account of no one ever having attempted to be there. But I'm going to say that it costs $1.
Oh,
That's a hell of a
That's
deal.
great.
Yeah.
We're running out of time. Do you guys have any
Jeez.
final questions for Tarp?
I've just learned so much.
Yeah, I know. People don't know about the South. I just want to educate what life is really like there. You know?
Jake, do you have any final questions for him?
No, I just
Yeah.
if you could put a shirt on next time you come to do a.
But then you
podcast.
wouldn't see my drawing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They-
Yeah, how would you describe that one on your chest?
I'd call it a treasure map that got all fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah.
A guy who said he was a wizard drew it on me. And I tried to figure out where the X is, but it got all smeared.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I wish you a lot of luck
Thank
finding
you.
that treasure. If people want to find out more about you, about your political career,
Where you would want to go, you would want to go to the UCB Theater on Monday nights and check out a team called Cardinal Redbird, or follow at Jake Regal on Twitter. He posts Tarp updates. Upgrades, too.
Upgrades.
Tarp 2.0 is even more racist.